Good morning, darlings. Okay, so last lesson we went through all of this in front of you and we annotated quite a lot of the poem, and we knew what, by the end of it, we knew what this poem was about, the gist of it. Okay, so I want to go back just to a question I asked you at the bottom here of this slide. How might Shelley's atheism affect his writing? Now, as we said before, atheists don't believe in God. So if Percy Shelley didn't believe in God, and yet Ramesses II, Ozymandias, clearly thought he was a god, because if you know anything about Egyptian mythology, the pharaohs, the kings, thought they were gods and the people worshipped them like gods. Okay, so how then do we think his atheism affected his writing, do we think? So what ideas we're looking for here is really that he is hoping to challenge the idea that Ozymandias was a god, because obviously A, he died, B, his kingdom ended, C, his statue, this tribute to him, was destroyed by nature, and that actually nature was more powerful than anything else. So when we looked at our first lot of bullet points here, we saw that part of the group of poets who became known as the Romantics was a key bullet point. It was the second one after when he lived and when he died. Okay, so the Romantics here, notice it's not got a small r, so it's not romance as in flowers and hearts and chocolates and all that nonsense. It's Romantics. Now the Romantics with a capital R had a preoccupation with the power and awe and beauty of nature. Okay, nature above all else. So in terms of how this links to his atheism, he would have thought that nature then, if we just draw a line there, would have thought that nature was much more powerful than humans, quite rightly so, and that, you know, God had nothing to do with anything because he was an atheist. And in this case here, where we're looking at, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings, I'm better than everybody else. Oh my gosh, worship me. Look at my works, ye mighty in despair. Feel hopeless, feel powerless, feel useless because I'm fantastic and you're not. Essentially, what Shelley is doing then is undermining all these ideas of Ozymandias being a god on earth. Okay, so that's the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about today. So if you want to go ahead and pause the video and make some notes about that on your poem. Remember, I said before that you should write in small handwriting and in pencil in case you need to rub stuff out and make it smaller in the future. Go ahead and do that now and then come back. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you've done that. Well done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ignore all these boxes and we're going to look at some of the technicalities. Now, a sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. It's usually about love, but that would be small r for romantic. There are two main types. There's the Petrarchan and the Shakespearean sonnet. When we do Romeo and Juliet, we look at the sonnets, especially at the beginning for the prologue. That's a sonnet, it's 14 lines. And this bit here, you need to do some research for this, please. What is a Petrarchan sonnet? I need you to have a look at that now. Okay, so pause the video, I'm going to do that and then come back. This poem here is a mixture of the two. It's a mixture of Shakespearean and Petrarchan. This and the rhyme scheme doesn't fit really with either. It's a subverted sonnet form. Don't worry about that too much if you don't know what that means. It's okay. But the rhyme scheme here, we've got land and sand, stone and frown, a para rhyme, command links with these two. Red and fed, things all by itself, appear, despair, kings and things. They're like, you know, you have to wait a couple of lines until you find the next rhyme scheme. Appear, despair, another para rhyme, decay and away, bare and despair. So you've got, it's not quite a rhyming scheme that you might necessarily think, oh yes, that's really predictable. It is sort of like, you know, it's a variety. It's mixed up, okay? So, why then do we think Shelley chose to use the sonnet form here? What are the benefits of a sonnet? Usually about love. Well, who loves themselves in this poem? Yeah, something to consider. And is that being ironic, perhaps, because the shattered statue stands alone in the desert? Maybe. Okay, so a couple of ideas then. I don't want a big paragraph about this, just a couple of notes. I'm going to let you to use the internet for this to get some ideas. Usually in the class, obviously, we'd have a bit of discussion, but we can't do that because of remote learning. So you're going to have to be able to use the internet for some of this, which is quite fine as long as you don't copy it word for word. If you put it in your own language, have you got your own language? In your own words, that's what I mean. That'd be grand, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at this. This is quite a big question, and it might take you a while to answer this. Where does the human power lie in this poem, and how equals methods? How is it presented? Okay, so I want you to, what we're going to do is you're going to do a plan first, and you can submit your plans to me. And then when you've had a response for your plan, then you can write the essay for this. You'll probably be looking at maybe 4 paragraphs. You're going to be looking at your quotes. You're going to be close analysis is what we call this. We call it close analysis. You're going to be looking for your methods. We're going to be looking how it relies to power. So we're going to be looking at types of power, because there are a couple of different types, as I said on the previous video. Types of power, and then the effect on the reader, I think. Ooh, I can't write. Effect on the reader. What message are we supposed to take away from this? What does Shelley want us to consider? What does he want us to understand? What does he want us to think about more than we may have thought about this issue or this topic or whatever before? Okay, so first of all, you do your plan. You submit your plan. You submit your plan to Miss. I'll reply, and then you can do your paragraphs, because I don't want you to go storming into this to write a couple of four paragraphs or so about a poem when you haven't had your work checked, and I can't tell you if you're on the right track or not. Okay, that's today's work. As per usual, if you are stuck, if you are struggling, if you haven't got a clue, you can tweet me or you can email me. You know where I am. And well done, guys, for emailing me as much as you have. I'm really, really impressed with how much you are asking questions and you're checking stuff. It's brilliant. Well done. Keep it up. I do not mind at all in the slightest. I'd much rather you ask than sit at home struggling. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. This should take you at least an hour, maybe a little bit more. Okay, because this might take you a few minutes. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And yeah, any issues, you know where I am. Stay safe, guys. See you soon. Stay safe.